With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Lewis, and he'll tell you a story.
Before I get started, first of all, I want to thank Reverend Karen for allowing me to talk about my favorite subject, my hero, my son, Kirk Mason. The credit of raising my son I give to God and the angels. I was just a good listener. Could you show the first slide, please? This is in 1992, Swedish hospital, 12 hours after he was born. I'm holding my son, and I'm praying to God because I'm scared as heck. God, what is the plan? What do you want to do for this soul? And out to my right, I hear this word, United States Naval Academy. And I'm looking around like, what the heck? And so it repeated itself. I said, whoa, nobody's going to believe this. So I told myself, okay, if a person is going to this particular school, I guess he must have a really impressive resume or connections. So I'm an engineer. Let's just do reverse engineering of a good resume. So one of the things that a Naval Academy person must need to do is swim. So I had him go to Green Lake. We were doing swimming lessons. And, you know, in Green Lake, the parking is a real challenge. And one day it was late getting there. The classes started at 9:30. I said, come on, Kurt, we got to run. I said, he says, Dad, I'm tired. You know, we're going to get there, son. He says, Dad, who's the best swimmer? Well, people in the Olympics. And this voice says, no, son. The best swimmers in the world are these people, Navy people called the Navy SEALs. And one of the things they do, they run really fast, and they're really in shape, and they get in the water, and they usually rescue people. And so he picked up the pace. And so, show the next picture, please. This is Kirk when he was in the Cub Scouts, okay? Because one of the things you have to do is know how to be in the woods, and later on, he became an Eagle Scout. Reverend Jackie Green from Spokane was at his presentation of an Eagle Scout. Show the next picture, please. This is Kirk when he was bored. He said, Dad, I don't want to do swimming anymore. I said, wait a minute. You remember the part about the Navy SEALs? Oh, yeah. And so what he did, he convinced his mother to get him some PBS specials on the Navy SEALs, how they train. And I convinced this lady, this guy in Juanita Kirkland, he had a diving shop. I said, well, I got a kid. He's only 10 years old. He says, I don't know. But bottom line, he came up with a little small swimming course for my kid. Kirk has about 24 hours of swimming. Later on, he became the first African-American lifeguard in Kirkland. So we kept going. We made sure he had more training. We had academic people to do his mathematics and so forth. There was one lady, her name is Jan Link. And what Jan did, she had a lot of connections in Olympia with other people around the world. And so he got to be 16 years old. And all the things we did for him. And one of the things we did, we wrote letters to MIT, Stanford, Florida State, and also the Naval Academy. Because I want to make sure it wasn't like Dad pushing my son. I didn't want to do that. This is his life. And so when he became 16 years old, he says, Dad, I want to go to Florida State, where the girls are, where the women are. And then I said to myself, well, God, did I hear this wrong? Was this my imagination? So he was playing basketball. We came back from basketball practice, you know, and we live in a place where there's not many African Americans. And I said, wait a minute, I didn't see Rick, because one of his good friends. He says, Dad, Rick was down in Tacoma last weekend, and he got in a fight, and this girl pushed him, and he pushed the girl, and then Rick got arrested. I said, I'm so sorry. He says, Dad, that's not fair. I said, wait a minute. This is how life works. When you make a decision, every decision has repercussions. He decided to go to this party, a tough neighborhood. He decided to do this interaction. And so these are the consequences. That is how life is. He was really quiet for a while. We were driving back to my apartment. Dad, I want to go to the Naval Academy. Are you sure? Yeah, Dad, I don't want the party life. I want to go to the Naval Academy. Son, you sure you want to do this? Don't do it for me, do it for you. This is your life. Dad, this is what I do. Okay, let's rock and roll. And so one of the things we had to do, we had to get a sponsor. And so at this point in time, Kirk, he was like, say, part of a leadership conference, and he went to Washington, D.C. So one of the things he did at 4 o'clock in the morning, he called a cab. Went in the cab, went to the Capitol building. He saw Patty Murray. He says, Patty Murray, my name is Kirk Mason. I want to go to the Naval Academy. So I got a picture of my son with Patty Murray side by side. Patty said no. So then one time again, ex-President Jimmy Carter, he was at the UW doing a book signing. And so I said, well, we have to get somebody to, let's try Jimmy Carter. So we waited in line. And we're going down the line signing books, and there's Jimmy Carter, and Kirk says, my name is Kirk Mason, I want to go to the Naval Academy. And there's a Secret Service guy with the earpiece. He put his hand in the chest, and Jimmy says, it's okay. He said, wait, my name is Kirk Mason. He says, thank you so much. Then later on, we sent an email, and we sent a nice formal letter to Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter said no. So, one last shot. So it was Jay Inslee. We had a presentation with him. I got my son dressed up. I went to Nordstrom. I got his nice suit, made him look like an officer. And then one of the things I did for my son is that every summer he went to a camp where they flew airplanes. He has 10 hours in the Cessna. He got bored. And so I said, wait a minute, you still want to be a Navy? He said, yeah, what if I got you some helicopter lessons? And so one of the things I have is a joystick of pictures of my son flying around the Space Needle in a helicopter. So we got the conference with one of Jay Inslee's counselor and so forth. This guy says, whoa, you fly helicopters? I'm a pilot myself. And there was the bond. Bottom line, Jay Inslee said, yes. Show the next picture, please. And every year we went to every event, Seafair. One of the ones that's not here is we actually waited in line to go on the USS Alabama, the one that Denzel Washington was in one of the movies and so forth. But I made sure he stuck around Navy people. Show the next picture, please. This is my dad, my father. 3 wars, World War II, Korea, 2 tours, and Nam. He always teased Kirk, because, well, you're going to the second best school. You should have went to West Point. Always teased him. But if it wasn't for Kirk, I would have never went back to the East Coast. I've been away for 33 years. I made peace with my family. It was my son that guided me to go back home. So, 2016 is May. It starts in a big, huge stadium. There are thousands of people. I sneak in with the concession people. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. And then there's a sea of sailors and so forth. There's people all dressed up in lines. And the last thing they do is says, hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray. And all 1,285 graduates throw those seas of hats up in the air. And I cried like a baby. Show the next picture, please. So in this huge stadium, there's a lot of parents and folks. We had to find each other. I found Kirk, gave him the biggest hug. He says, Dad, this is for you. Thank you for letting me share about my son. He's a blessing. Every time I see him, I thank God and the angels. Happy Father's Day.